The summer of 1940 saw the skies above Britain embroiled in a fierce battle. The German Luftwaffe, under the command of Hermann Göring, was locked in a struggle for air supremacy with the Royal Air Force. This clash, known as the Battle of Britain, was a critical turning point in World War II. Following the fall of France, Germany needed to neutralize Britain's air power to pave the way for a potential invasion, codenamed Operation Sea Lion. The Luftwaffe initially targeted RAF infrastructure, including airfields and radar stations. Their goal was to cripple the RAF's ability to defend the skies. The attacks were relentless, pushing the RAF to its limits. However, the British were resilient, their resolve strengthened by the knowledge that the fate of their nation hung in the balance. The outcome of the Battle of Britain would determine whether Britain would stand alone against the Nazi war machine or face potential conquest. As the battle raged, both sides suffered losses. The Luftwaffe, despite its initial successes, was beginning to feel the strain. Their aircraft were being downed in increasing numbers, and the replacement rate couldn't keep pace with the losses. The RAF, though outnumbered, was bolstered by the bravery and skill of its pilots, many of whom were very young. The stage was set for a decisive encounter, a day that would shape the course of the battle and have far-reaching consequences for the war. On September 15th, 1940, the Luftwaffe launched a massive air offensive, aiming to break the RAF and achieve air superiority over southern England. This day would become known as Battle of Britain Day, a testament to the sheer scale of the aerial combat and its significance in the annals of history. The outcome of this clash would determine the fate of nations, shaping the course of the Second World War. By mid-September 1940, the Luftwaffe was under increasing pressure to achieve a decisive victory in the Battle of Britain. Their planned invasion of England, Operation Sea Lion, hinged on the Luftwaffe's ability to gain air superiority over the English Channel and southeastern England. This meant neutralizing the RAF, crippling their ability to defend the skies and allowing German forces to land unopposed. The Luftwaffe's plan for September 15th, codenamed Operation Eagle Attack, was audacious in its scale and ambition. It called for a massive daylight bombing raid on London and other strategic targets across England. The objective was twofold: to draw the RAF into a decisive battle where they could be overwhelmed by sheer numbers, and to break the morale of the British people by demonstrating the Luftwaffe's might. The stakes were incredibly high. If the Luftwaffe could inflict significant losses on the RAF and force them to withdraw from the fight, it would pave the way for Operation Sea Lion. The English Channel, no longer protected by the RAF, would be open for a German invasion force to cross. The fate of Britain, already standing alone against Nazi Germany, hung precariously in the balance. However, the Luftwaffe's leadership, particularly Hermann Göring, underestimated the resilience of the RAF and the determination of the British people. They believed that the RAF was on the verge of collapse, its strength depleted by weeks of relentless attacks. This miscalculation would have dire consequences for the Luftwaffe and ultimately contribute to their failure to achieve their objectives. The morning of September 15th, 1940, dawned bright and clear over southeastern England, a stark contrast to the storm of steel that was about to be unleashed. Shortly before 11 a.m., the first wave of German aircraft, over 100 bombers escorted by fighters, crossed the English coast. Their target, London, the sirens wailed, sending the city's inhabitants scrambling for the safety of underground shelters. The scale of the Luftwaffe's assault was unprecedented. Over 1,000 aircraft, including Messerschmitt Bf 109 and Bf 110 fighters, along with Heinkel He 111 and Dornier Tu-17 bombers, filled the skies. Wave after wave of German aircraft thundered towards London, their objective clear to break the back of the RAF and pave the way for a German invasion. The RAF, although outnumbered, was ready. From airfields across southern England, squadrons of Hurricane and Spitfire fighters scrambled to intercept the incoming enemy formations. The air crackled with tension as young pilots, many still in their teens, climbed into the cockpits of their aircraft, knowing that they were facing their most critical test. The ensuing air battles were some of the most intense and large-scale of the entire war. Over the skies of London and the surrounding countryside, British and German pilots fought with desperate courage. The roar of engines, the chatter of machine guns, and the explosions of anti-aircraft fire filled the air. The fate of Britain, it seemed, hung suspended in the balance. Section 4. Air superiority, the key to invasion. The German strategy for conquering Britain relied heavily on achieving air superiority, a crucial element in modern warfare. Air superiority meant control of the skies, the ability to dictate the terms of engagement and deny the enemy freedom of movement. For Operation Sea Lion, the planned invasion of England, air superiority was not merely an advantage, it was an absolute necessity. Without control of the skies, any attempted invasion would be doomed from the start. German troops attempting to land on the beaches of southern England would be vulnerable to attack from the air. RAF bombers could target invasion barges and warships, while fighters would disrupt landing operations and inflict heavy casualties. The English Channel, despite its relatively short width, would become a death trap for German forces if the Luftwaffe could not secure air superiority. The RAF, operating from bases in southern England, could strike at will, turning the Channel into a graveyard of sunken ships and downed aircraft. The Luftwaffe's failure to achieve air superiority on September 15th and in the days that followed effectively sealed the fate of Operation Sea Lion. The invasion was postponed indefinitely, and Britain was spared the threat of a German landing. The Battle of Britain, however, was far from over. Section 5. Legacy of September 15th, the turning point. September 15, 1940, marked a turning point in the Battle of Britain. While the Luftwaffe continued its air offensive, it became increasingly clear that they had failed to achieve their strategic objectives. The RAF, battered but not broken, had demonstrated its ability to withstand the Luftwaffe's best efforts. The large-scale daylight raids, such as those on September 15th, proved to be too costly for the Luftwaffe. They suffered heavy losses in both aircraft and experienced crews, losses they could ill afford. The RAF, fighting from a defensive position and bolstered by the bravery and skill of their pilots, inflicted a heavy toll on the attacking German formations. The significance of September 15th extends beyond the tactical outcome of the day's air battles. It marked a turning point in the morale of both sides. The Luftwaffe, accustomed to victory in previous campaigns, began to doubt their ability to defeat the RAF. The British people, inspired by the courage of the RAF, grew increasingly confident in their ability to withstand the Nazi onslaught. The Battle of Britain would continue for several more weeks, but the tide had turned. The Luftwaffe, unable to break the RAF or force Britain to the negotiating table, gradually shifted to nighttime bombing raids, primarily targeting cities like London. The Battle of Britain, though costly for both sides, was a victory for the RAF and a crucial turning point in World War II. It demonstrated that Hitler's Germany was not invincible and that the tide of war could be turned.